Good morning, gentlemen. We're on our 14th segment of our Think Before You Speak series, the laws of Shemirat, Halashon with clarity. Li'ilui Nishmat, the Chafetz Chaim, Zechet Tzadik Lebracha, dedicated for the Shmirah and the Yeshuot of our Bnei Chabura, the Yeshuot for Klal Yisrael, and specifically as well, the Yeshuah and the Shmirah Gdola and the Hatzlacha for Chaim Davido ben Chaisar. Today's halacha is titled First-Hand Information. If a person regularly does averot, which everyone knows are not allowed. For instance, you have a guy who is mehalel Shabbat in your neighborhood, and you see week after week he's driving around, and you know he knows better. You know that this guy knows better. He went to yeshiva once upon a time. You're allowed to tell people what you saw. You can actually go and tell people that you witnessed that he drove around on Shabbat, or any other avera that people know is forbidden. But there are a few conditions. Condition number one, you could only tell people what you saw if you saw it firsthand. Not that you heard about it, but you actually witnessed it firsthand. The next condition is you're not allowed to exaggerate, only to keep to exactly what you saw. The third condition is that your intention must be l'shem shamayim. If you have any other intention other than getting this guy the message that he should change and do teshuvah, you're not allowed to say it. And the fourth intention is that when you speak about him, you speak about him the same way in private than in public. Don't be the guy that in private tells people the things he did wrong, and then when you're with him in public, you act as his best friend. If you're going to make a stance on this, and trying to send them information to him that he did something wrong, it has to be the same in private as in public. I made a siman to remember these few conditions, and the siman is first exaggerate with intent to flatter. First, exaggerate with intent to flatter. First-hand information. Exaggerate, you're not allowed to exaggerate. With intent, the intent has to be l'shem shamayim. To flatter, you're not allowed to flatter him in front of him while in private speaking the averot that he's done. Now, this is all about the guy who witnessed someone doing averot that everyone knows is wrong, and the laws about when he's allowed to speak and tell it over. But what about the listener? When he tells you, the listener, that he saw this guy driving around on Shabbat in public, are you allowed to believe him? Let's take an example. You have an office situation where a guy comes to his boss and he says, "Don't hire that guy. I know him. He lives on my block. He went to yeshiva with me. He drives around on Shabbat, every single Shabbat. I wish he would stop. I wish this guy would do teshuvah already." So he's allowed to say that because he witnessed it firsthand. He didn't exaggerate. His intent was l'shem shamayim. He speaks in front of him the way he speaks behind his back, no different. But what about the boss? Is the boss allowed to listen and believe what he's telling him about the guy that he's thinking of hiring? The halacha states that the listener is not allowed to believe the accusations to be true, but he's allowed to be skeptical about the guy in order to protect himself, in order to protect his business, or maybe the environment of his business. Until the information is proved to the listener as first-hand information that's true, the listener is not allowed to believe it as truth. But once the information is proved to the listener to be true 100%, and he finds out that really this guy, he constantly is a regular sinner on averot that everyone knows is wrong, then even if other things come up in the future about this guy that's questionable, he can assume that he probably fell in those areas as well, and he no longer has to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's amazing. You know, young people are known to say, don't believe everything you hear. Older people that went through life say, don't believe anything you hear. Remember, until you have first-hand information that's absolutely clear that the person has done any averot, every Jew is innocent until proven guilty. Thank you.